What's going on, man? It's your big brother K-Rino, and so I'm a little late, but I wanted to make sure I had everything on point for this topic. Um, what I want y'all to do right now for your big brother, y'all know the routine. See a few of y'all already in here. What I want y'all to do, man, is hit the like button for your big brother. Hit the like button right now as you come into the room, and you know, program that into your mindset that every time you come and join your big brother on one of these chats, on one of these lives, that you hit that like button. And that gives me the opportunity to be seen by more people. Because to be honest with you, man, my channel, y'all know me, y'all know I do music, and music will always be a part of my channel, of course. But also, I take a lot of pride in the other half of what this channel represents, and that is the life lessons in the game that I try to give y'all. That's why I come on, and every time I come on, I say, this is your big brother, K-Rino, because I'm like, I want to be like that big brother, that big uncle, even in some cases, the father that some people may have never had, that to give them certain types of life advice that could help you moving forward, help you down the line, and help y'all miss out on some of the BS in life if you pay attention. So, the small little things I talk about are really not small. They're really not minor things. They are major things that if you apply these things, it can improve your life, because they are the things I talk about every day on this channel, man, are things that we encounter every day. Everything is not going to always be way up in the stratosphere, way up in space, way some deep intellectual cosmic concept that you have to break down and decide. I do that in my music a lot of times. So, that gives you time to listen to it over and over again and break it down. But when I'm talking to y'all straight up, like I'm talking to y'all right now, I like to talk to you straight up, and where there's no time to be trying to decipher things and bust stuff down like that. It's just straight words. And, these are things that you can listen to over and over again and share with other people. So tonight, I'm talking about the problem that I have with quitters, the problem that I have with people who just, they always start something and then they quit. Or they may start something for the first time, and then the first time it gets rough, they quit. Then you have people who it doesn't even get rough. They just get bored with it, or they get to a certain point and they quit. And it's really, really a discouraging thing to see in people who you can see on the outside looking in got a lot of potential that can really be something. And then every time you look up, they're giving up. And that's really what this definition of quitting that I'm using in this topic represents. It represents giving up, just feeling like I can't do it, I can't make it. And there are so many things that you can quit on. We'll get into some of those things that you can quit on, but what we got to understand is how it takes away from your character every time you quit. How it chops away at you every time you quit, and you lose part of yourself. A lot of people who start off early in their life, and y'all got to listen to your big brother well on this one. A lot of people may start off early on in their life with wide eyes and just full of confidence and full of self-belief and full of optimism that, hey man, I'm gonna make something about myself in life, and that happens usually before you get out into the world. And then once you get out into the world, you start to see how tough it is. You start to see how hard it is to reach certain goals. You start to see how tough it is dealing with certain people. You start to see how the game is played in terms of how there are people out there who will try to hold you back and prevent you from getting the way you got to get. And then you also start to see that there's competition out there in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So all of these things I mentioned represents a form of opposition, a wall that may be in between you and the goal that you're trying to reach. So the question is, what do you do when you reach those walls, when you reach those obstacles? Do you say, man, I got to figure out a way around this, through this, over this, or under this? Or do you just say, I guess I was in over my head. Something else. Shout out to Mike Cherry. I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much, man. I want to quote something that Maya Angelou said, the great poet Maya Angelou, our great sister who transitioned recently, a few years ago. And she is one of the greatest poets to ever put pen to paper or to put a thought into the universe. And she made a quote speaking on this particular topic. She said, "You may encounter defeats, but you must never be defeated." And that was a beautiful use of words by a beautiful wordsmith, because there are two definitions within that word, defeat. You may encounter defeats. That means you're going to take some losses, but you can't let those defeats defeat your spirit. You can't let those defeats turn you into a person who just becomes a self-doubter, a person who just reaches a point where you don't even have any confidence anymore, and you no longer believe that you can get stuff done. The greatest people are the people who can take those hits and can seemingly shake them off and go right back to what we call a drawing board and make it happen again and start over. Um, I'm gonna quote Thomas Edison. Also, Thomas Edison had a quote that was very interesting to me. He said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." And that's that term again, gave up. And I've talked about this before. When you have people who were just quit, just quit, just quit, just quit, just quit. One aspect of the unknown, one unknown aspect about quitting is that you don't know how close you were. You may have been right there. Now, you might not have been right there. You may still have a ways to go. You may still have a long ways to go. But sometimes people quit right when they about to get it done. And what happens is a person who starts to establish the habit of always giving up, always being defeated, always just letting it go. Even if you're moving on to something else, because people say, "Man, I just wanted to try something different." Yeah, but you tried something different 88 times since I've been knowing you. We don't realize the effect that this has on our character. And it's like, picture somebody with an axe, just chopping a tree. Wow, just chopping a tree, chopping a tree. Every time the blade of that axe chops into that tree gets a little bit weaker. The foundation of that tree gets a little bit weaker. So wow, wow. Each hit with that axe represents a time that you quit. And then sooner or later, you're gonna reach one more time, and you're gonna whack, that tree is gonna get whacked and it's gonna fall over. It's gonna collapse. The tree is you. You are the tree. And the axe is whatever it is that's bringing those obstacles, that's making you quit. And each time you quit, you're losing a part of yourself. So you got so many people who have invented things. You got so many technological advances that have taken place from the beginning of time to now, that if those people had given up, what would the state of of our normal activity be? Will we still be walking around here riding on horses and carriages, riding horses, or will we still be walking, packing all our stuff on our back somewhere if nobody decided to try to make things a little bit easier? They say that invention is the mother of necessity. Where would we be if people just decided that we're just going to leave stuff like it is because it don't do no good to try to make these things happen? When you think about great inventors, and I'm on inventors right now, I'm gonna go to different things, but all you really hear about is the invention. You hear about this person who created this, the person who did this person who established this company, but you rarely hear about or care about what it took for them to get to that point and all of the failures that they experienced before they finally broke through. Now, if you see them in an interview, they may tell those stories at some point where, hey, man, I went broke 5 times. I filed for bankruptcy. My wife left me. All these things happened. I was homeless for 4 years. You may hear about those stories then. But a lot of time on the surface, all we hear about is, wow, he's a self-made millionaire. He's a self-made billionaire. Well, he invented this. He came up with this. He created this idea. And we put them on this pedestal off the rip as if they just magically just were in that position. We have to know the backstories of people. I think the backstories of people should be just as important as the final successes, because the strength doesn't always come in the success story. The strength, a lot of times, I'm speaking for me. For me, I gain strength from hearing about people's failures that they overcame. That gives me more power and more drive to get what I'm trying to get done than just hearing about what they already did. And then you leave it at that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but my road might not be an easy road. I might have to take a few licks. So I need to have it in my mind. Okay, what do I need to do? What is the mindset? What is the approach that I need to take when I do get caught with one of these jabs, or if one of these jabs put me on the canvas? And see, that's another example. Think about great boxers throughout history. Y'all know I love sports. I love boxing. And I talked about this one other time, man. You know, we've all seen guys who get hit and knocked down, knocked smooth down. And it's looking like they gone. The ref is 1, 2, the ref counting them out. And while that referee is counting, that boxer is laying on the canvas. He's contemplating a decision in his mind. We've seen it a bunch of times. If he didn't get knocked smooth out where it's no reason to count, a lot of times you see a guy get knocked down and he's kind of on the ground. He's looking up. He's thinking. He's contemplating a decision in his mind because he knows he got 10 seconds to decide if he's going to stay on that canvas, which would be the easy way out. I already got my money. Or if he decides that I want to see what I'm made of and I can get up and try to win this fight. And we've seen a whole lot of fighters get up from being right on the brink of being knocked smooth out. They could have stopped. They got up, got their head together, and won the fight. See, that's an analogy that represents a principle that we should all strive for, meaning that if you have any internal strength in you to fight, then you need to fight. Never let the game end. Never let the challenge end and you taking the L, knowing in your mind it was more that you could have did. Anytime, I don't care which one or where you at on this chat. I don't care how long you've been living. I don't care how old you are. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, we have all had moments where we could have cashed it in or we could have kept going. And there are moments where we just let it go. You know what? Go ahead. And it bothered you. Now, if you are any kind of person with any kind of character, it bothers you. Some people don't care. They're just like, whatever. But if you got any kind of character in you, when you know you could have gave more and you didn't, that bothers you. And it should. You didn't give 1,000%. It bothers you. I'm going to tell y'all this story real quick. One time, when I was in the 9th grade, I ran track for a little while. And I was a long distance runner. I wasn't fast. I wasn't doing no sprinting. I was running a 2 mile. That was my race. And my first race, we was running around the track. It's 8 times around. And I'm at a pretty good pace. but I'm not in the lead. I'm kind of in the middle of the pack, but I could see the leader. I could see the leader. He wasn't too far from me. And something the whole time after we went around 5 or 6 times, we come into those last couple of laps. Something in my mind the whole time was telling me, "Hey man, pick it up, go, pick it up, make a push to try to win." But it was something else in my mind going, "Man, you don't want to get tired. You don't want to pass out." I didn't feel like I was going to pass out. I felt good. I was fine. But it was something restricting me from making that push to win. So I ended up not making that push and I lost. So the point of the story is that always stuck with me. That's why I'm talking about it today. Because there's moments that come up where I think about that. I was like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I would have just turned it on those last 2 laps, the last lap and a half. Because when I crossed the finish line, I wasn't even tired. I wasn't even like, I wasn't struggling. So I left something on the table that I shouldn't have left on the table. And we do that every day. We do that in life every single day. We have moments where we could have gave more. We could have gave more of an effort and we didn't. And that's that whack. That's another whack on your tree. Your tree just got weaker. So now you have to make a situation to where you have to rebuild that character. You got to put them bricks back on your house. Those damaged bricks, you got to replace them to build yourself up. Inventors have gone through this for years. I don't care if you're talking about inventing the car, the airplane, the cell phone, the walkie-talkie, this computer we own. That is always going to be a period of what's called trial and error. Y'all hit that like button, man, if you ain't did it already. It's going to always be a period of trial and error, man. You're going to mess up. But are you the whining type? Are you the type that whines, man, I can't do nothing right? Man, every time I try something, it don't never work. Man, then you go from that stage to, hey man, why don't you do that? Nah, it ain't gonna work no way. I ain't. See, now you are shaping your own thoughts. You shaping your own mind to be a failure, to be a eternal failure. Because we've all failed, but now you have made your mind accept that you are a failure. That's what you are. It's a big difference. Difference between failing and being a failure. And see, that bothers me to see people take that approach because a lot of times, again, we don't see who we are clearer than people on the outside of us. That's why parents get disappointed in their children a lot. Children who don't max out and work hard to be successful, the parents are disappointed because the parents see the potential of the child. Teachers see the same thing. We all had that teacher that got upset with you because, man, son, you're just not applying yourself. You're just not applying yourself because they see it in you. But it doesn't matter what another person sees in you. If you don't see it in yourself, ain't nothing gonna happen with it. Nothing gonna happen with it. I know people who are in the music business who are not artists. They are on the management side of it. And a lot of times I've had the same conversations with different people in the music business that are in management, and they'll be frustrated with certain artists that they have. And because they'll say, well, man, he got the talent, man, but he just don't want to work, man. He don't want to grind. He don't want to get out and he don't want to do nothing, man. But he just wasting an opportunity. Now, these people, they ready to put up money. They ready to put them in position. Some got connections, and they'll say, well, man, I'm not going to plug this dude into my connections. And it's going to make me look bad if this guy ain't got it together. So when that time passes and that window of opportunity closes, now you fall into the category of another wasted talent. Then if you catch on at some point and go, okay, I get it now. Too late now. They moved on. That person is gone. So we got to understand who we are, even if we have not become that yet. So what does that mean? What you mean? I got to understand who I am if I haven't become there yet. How can I be something, but at the same time, I have not become that yet? Well, it's real simple. If you take a seed, if you take any seed, it could be an apple seed or whatever seed, a watermelon seed. If you have that seed, you're not going to look at this seed and call it an apple. You're not going to look at the seed and call it an apple tree. But within that seed, once it's planted and nurtured the right way, it has the ability to become an entire apple tree. See, that's us. So you are that. You just haven't walked into it yet because you have not gone through the steps of properly nurturing and watering yourself and sunlighting yourself and cultivating yourself to become that. See? So you can't be quitting all the time. And I'm going to tell y'all another principle that's really a dangerous aspect of a quitter. Sometimes a quitter, that quitter's quitting is not just relegated to themselves. Somebody's quitting can affect other people. If you dealing with a quitter, that can affect you. How can it affect me, man? He a quitter, not me. Yeah, but you might have decided to go into business with him or with her. You might have got with him and said, well, man, we've been knowing each other all this time, man. We cool, man. You know this side of the game. I know this side of the game. Let's go into business. Say, yeah, let's go into business, man. Da, 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 da. And then in that first year, things ain't going too good. You're struggling. You're trying to figure things out. You're going through the trial and error process in that business. And you've invested time. You've invested money. You have put yourself on the line, maybe with your family and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, he or she gets discouraged because it ain't moving as fast as they thought it was going to move, and y'all having some problems, and they quit and leave you high and dry. Your mind was never focused on quitting. You was like, man, we're going to rock this out. I know it's hard right now, but we're going to figure this out. But they quit. And the percentage of it that they brought to the table, they removed that at a time that left you stuck out. So now the quitter's quitting has affected you. Picture somebody that you move into an apartment with. Sometimes you start off, you're in a situation where, hey, man, I can't hold this down by myself. I may have to move in with one of the homies. And then y'all split the bills, man. We can make this happen, man. We're just going to get this crib together. And then y'all decide to do that. Things going good. A few months in, and all of a sudden, he decides he wants to quit his job. And it ain't for a valid reason. What happened, man? Them people ran me hot today, man. Them people ran me hot at the job today, man. So what happened? Man, I quit. Wait a minute, you quit? But we still got these bills to pay. Man, I ain't just letting nobody talk to me no any kind of way, man. So they've left you stuck out. Now you in a position because you didn't quit your job. You good. You holding up your end of the bills every month. But this person's quitting mentality has now placed you in a bad situation. See? So you have to even be careful about the people that you work with, and you have to know those people's characters in order to not let their quitting jam you up. See, this thing, it goes a long way. And if you have so many people within a community, so many people within a society that fall into that mindset, what does that do for the morale of the community? You're creating a whole community of individuals, well, a lot of individuals in the community, not everybody, who just have this low self-esteem and just have this attitude that if it gets tough, I'm out. I'm done. I ain't fooling with it. I'm gone. See? And we can't fall into that trap because there are already so many elements working against us as it is. So many elements working against us, so many situations where society itself is denying opportunity and trying to place a giant wall between us and success. And we still have the intestinal fortitude to try to fight through those things. If we fighting hard against an opposition when we don't have it in our mind to quit, and it's still hard. Just imagine when you don't have it in your heart and you always want to just give up. The first thing, look, I've seen so many people, man, in the music industry, bro. So many people that started out with me, people that came along a little bit after me, people that I met along the way that had super, super, super talent. But they got in the game and they saw how dirty the industry was, as if they shouldn't have known that from the beginning, but that's another story. And they let that beat them up. And you see them years from now, hey man, what you working on? What you working on? Ah, man, I don't do that no more. I'm done. They quit. Some things take certain amounts of time for different people. And I want to say this to everyone that's listening to this, because whatever you do, whatever field that you're in, you could be in the same field with 20 other people. They may get their lick before you. They may reach success before you. They may go through a method that doesn't work for you. Or you may try to duplicate their method and it don't work for you. They may have been given an opportunity or a free ride from somebody on the inside that just automatically elevates them up. Oh, man, my uncle owns the company. But whatever the case is, you can only control your method. You can only control your ability to work your way up that ladder. And if you really want it, like you say you want it, then you figure it out and you go through that process. I saw somebody put perseverance in the chat. If you visualize a stone, this is just a stone just sitting somewhere, a stone, and this water is just plucking that stone. So some water is dropping on that stone, dropping on that stone, dropping on that stone. It may take years if that water continues to drop consistently before you'll see something start to wear into that stone, but eventually it will. Now, I ain't saying you got to wait that long, but I'm saying that what we perceive even to be the smallest degrees of movement still qualifies as movement, and it still qualifies as progression. That's what we got to understand. And over a period of time, if you are thinking, you'll see I'm not in the same place that I was 2 or 3 years ago if you've been working consistent. Now, if you ain't been doing nothing, yeah, you might be in the same place you were. But if you've been working consistent, even though it might not appear that way, you're not in the same place. You're moving. You're moving in time. So quitting is an easy way out. A lot of y'all will say, hey man, I'm gonna work. I gotta drop some weight. I gotta go on a diet. I'm gonna start working out. And the second you start working out, man, you might hire a trainer or something. And the second you start, I'm in pain. And you quit. Man, I ain't signed up for this. Or you find out, okay, yeah, you want to lose this weight, you got to stop eating this. We have to get out of the mindset of thinking that things are going to magically happen for us. That's not how life works, man. We're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that there's no such thing as a spook God. No such thing as Casper the Ghost God flying around sprinkling magic blessings on people. We're taught that action has to follow up prayer. And we're taught that anything that you want to get, you have to put your feet to the gas and you have to mash the gas and go out and make it happen for yourself without no shortcuts and without punking your way out of it the second that things get tough. I saw two stories that made me decide that I'm never going to give a grown person an excuse for quitting again in my life, including myself. Two stories that I saw. I want y'all to listen close. I saw a dog, D-O-G, an actual dog, who was born with no front legs. Back legs was fine, but the dog had no front leg, had stubs up here. The dog was like this. And early on, the family had other dogs, and the dogs would be running around the yard playing. The dog with no front legs would be walking on his hind legs like a human, trying to keep up with the other dogs. The dog's running around, he walking like this. He walking like a human. And in the dog's mind, the dog like, hey man, I'm keeping up the best I can. There was no levels of discouragement in the dog's face or activities. Dog ain't even realizing that he's handicapped. So what the owners of the dog did, they went out and bought this little two-wheel thing that they connect to the front part of the dog, and the wheels will now serve as artificial legs for the dog. So now the dog can move, and the dog is basically like on a wagon and can move itself. But that dog was not discouraged. Now I know what y'all might say. Y'all might say, well, man, he's just a dog. He ain't got sense enough to even understand. Okay, well, that leads me to my second story. I read a story about a 10-year-old boy who had a brain tumor in his head that throughout the course of his life has required for him to have 10 or 11 brain surgeries. 10 or 11 brains. He's had the same amount of brain surgeries as the amount of years that he's been on the planet. And they showed him laughing and talking and playing and enjoying his life throughout all these surgeries and all of these. See, that has to be a tiresome process for a child, for an adult, for anybody to constantly have to endure these people putting you under, cutting into your skull, going to your brain and working on your brain 10 or 11 times. One time, but 10 or 11 times. But this young boy with all this life in him, to want to live, to want to be just like everybody else, not giving up. So now we have grown men and women who have no physical ailments, no physical disabilities, who are not going through anything close to what the dog went through or what the young man went through, and are still crying and quitting and giving up every time things don't happen for you overnight, or every time things don't go quite the way you want them to go. See? So these are examples that I believe that the Creator allows us to see to show us how ungrateful we're being, or how ungrateful we can be. Because there are things that we see that if we are panoramic in our view, there are things that should make us snap and go, whoa, okay, you know what? I'm tripping with myself. Why am I complaining about that? Look at them. Look at her. Look at him. Why am I quitting? Why are you 20 years old and giving up? 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. I don't believe you should quit and give up at any age. But definitely when you young and you in your prime, and you have the absolute ability in your mind and in your body to fix it and fight through it, why would you let a situation just whoop you like that? Quitting is also a conditioning process that can impose itself on you over a period of time. It's like a basketball team or something who may lose 10 games in a row. You're going through a whole season and we lost 10 in a row. You start to doubt yourself. So let me work towards that aspect for a minute, because I got to address the human nature side of it too. I ain't telling y'all to try to be Superman or Superwoman. I'm gonna address the human nature side of it too. Quite naturally, if you hit a streak of bad breaks or just things not going right, it can spark up self-doubt at times, because the human spirit, it can only take so much. So you do reach a point sometimes like, man, taking a lot of L's lately. But you cannot. You gotta understand. Look, your big brother play ball a lot, and if I'm shooting bad, this is how my mind is built. I can't speak for y'all. I'm just speaking for me. I may have irrational overconfidence. I don't know. But if I miss 4 or 5 in a row, my mind is, okay, I know I can't miss 6 in a row. 6 going in. If I miss 6, I'm like, oh, I know this next one going in. I always feel like I'm gonna make the next shot. So, but human nature does play a role, because there's a thing called being, you can be shell shocked. You can be conditioned to feel like, man, this ain't gonna never turn around, because the breaks are just coming in such succession, they're coming consecutively, the way you're like, man. So it can play on your confidence. But when you get to that point where it plays on your confidence, you have to still always be mindful that, it's going to turn around. Team could lose 15 games in a row. They're going to beat somebody. Sooner or later, you're going to beat somebody. And a wise person said on one of these chats a while back, we was talking about something else, but it kind of fit into this discussion that we're talking about right now. Somebody said, I don't know who it was, but somebody said that the small losses, the small setbacks, they don't matter compared to the big wins. See, one big win destroys a bunch of little small losses all day long. I make a lot of sports analogies, but I do that because they just pop in my head, and plus I want y'all to understand the principles in them. If you playing baseball, man, and you struck out 4 times, and you went to the plate 4 times and you struck out, but when the game was on the line, the game was tied in the bottom of the ninth, and you stepped to the plate that 5th time and you hit a home run that won the game, who cares about them strikeouts now? See, I just told y'all about every inventor, every person that ever created or invented something, they took losses. They failed. Plane didn't fly right the first time they built it. Car didn't drive right the first time they built it. The camera didn't work right the first time they used it. First time somebody tried to train and tame a horse so they could and domesticate it to ride it, they got bucked off the back of the horse. But you have to continue to master the situation. What if people who have been oppressed, people who have been disenfranchised, people who have been beat down by society, what if they never fought and stood for basic human rights? They just said, okay, well, this is just how we live. There would be no advancement. And a lot of us, speaking particularly for Black people, brown people, we would not be enjoying the luxuries, some of the luxuries that we enjoy today, if people didn't put up a fight in the face of what seemed to be undefeatable opposition. You got to keep going. Don't surround yourself with people who think like that, who quit at every turn. Let me see what y'all talking about, man. It's amazing, Shaheem, that you said that. You said even Jesus had to suffer. Every prophet had to suffer. That's a good point. I was just talking about that today. Every prophet of God had to suffer. Not because God is some twisted-minded person that just likes to see you suffer. It's because just like the prophets who were God's chosen for a purpose, we are the same way. We have to prove ourselves worthy of whatever it is we're trying to get. So you can't just get a spot and then you're not worthy. You haven't proven yourself to be able to endure whatever hardships might come along once you get that spot. That's not how it works. So people got to put you through something. You go to the service, you go to the armed forces, you go through what they call basic training, you go through boot camp, you go through these processes, the police academy, the fire department, you go through a physically rigorous training process that either qualifies you or disqualifies you for that position. If you make it through, man, okay, you've qualified yourself. But it's not easy. You want to be a lawyer? Okay. You got to go to school for a long time. You have to pass the bar exam. Some people who are striving to be attorneys, they fail the bar numerous times before they finally pass it. You have to prove yourself qualified for the position that you're trying to hold. So it's like that in our life the same way. You can't just get away with claiming that you want something. It's not how it works. You don't just get to say, I want to be this. I want to do this. I want to be a doctor. Do you know what a person got to go through to become a doctor? I want to be a rapper. You know what a person got to go through to be a rapper? A successful rapper, a successful athlete? Come on, man. See? Mike, I'm reading your comment. People give up on relationships too soon. People give up on their children. Think about that. Oh, man, he ain't gonna never be nothing, man. I'm through with that boy, man. Man, that girl don't want to do nothing but run the streets, man. I'm through with her, man. But we don't always get into the root. See, a lot of times the people around us, because I'm trying to touch this on every angle. Like I say, sometimes the quitting is not always 100% self-inflicted and self-imposed. Sometimes people around us, they cause us to give up, to quit, to lose hope because of what they put on us, because of the way they talk to us, because they don't speak life and confidence into us. They speak negativity into us. They tell us that we're not going to do this. They tell us you ain't nothing. They tell us you can't succeed. They tell us you are a fool for even trying to do what it is you're trying to do. How many of y'all done had somebody tell y'all you ain't gonna never be nothing, or when you're trying to be something, they tell you ain't gonna never, they laugh at you that you're not gonna ever be able to do that. That happens more than you think. But the tough part about it, those words usually come out of the mouth of somebody that you love. Usually a parent. Usually in some cases, a significant other or a spouse. You've been involved with somebody for 10, 15 years, and then you might say, she might say, baby, I really think I want to go back to school and try to go back and get my degree. I never finished. I want to try to go back. And then the husband say, man, what you trying with? Why would you do that? Man, you ain't got time for you. You had your chance to do that then. You ain't did it then. You ain't gonna do it. You wasting your time, man. I ain't finna spend no money on that. Then she say, well, no, it's not gonna cost no money. I can go through this program and it's gonna be free. It's a man, it's stupid, man. And just destroy her motivation to even try. If she allows that. See? Hold up, Tone. I don't know. Shout out to Primo. But yeah. I don't know when it's coming out. That's a good question. It's not on my album. That's why I don't know. It's on DJ Premier's artist Patchy's album. See, Velly Vell talking about the dream assassins. That's those people. A dream assassin is somebody who posted up 100 yards away. They see your dream standing on a balcony like Martin Luther King, and they just assassinate your dream by telling you that you can never achieve that, because they're speaking from the angle of their own failures. So now you got a cycle. Speaking from the angle of their own cycle. Let me see what y'all talking about, man, in these comments. Walter Wilson, my brother, man, I remember when I was homeless, stabbed, backstabbed, and framed, sleep bench, trying to figure it out. And somehow From the Sky became my favorite song. Man, blessings. God is great. Brandon Atwood, I appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the donation, Brandon. I saw you. I was running my mouth, but I definitely saw your donation, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Brandon Atwood. If any of y'all coming on this chat and you never been on here before, I would like for y'all to just acknowledge that by throwing up a peace sign. I'd like to know who my new people are. Martell Music in the building. Now let me tell y'all something else. Because the only time that quitting is acceptable is when you quit doing things that are not good for you. Somebody tell me, oh man, I quit drinking. I finally quit smoking. Man, boy, I quit eating pork. I quit eating pork. Okay, that's the good quit. Because it's a duality to everything. It's a flip side to everything. Yeah, man. Quit beating your wife, man. Quit abusing your children. Quit being a deadbeat. Quit quitting. It's good to quit quitting. I wonder if we can get to 100 likes on this chat, man, before we shut it down. I wonder if we can get to 100 likes. Can we get to 100 likes? If y'all haven't hit the like button yet, let's see if we can get to 100 likes. Shaheen, Misery Loves Company. JV42, I see you. Tola, I see you. Misery loves company is a beautiful statement. But what you got to understand too, man, because some of us have been damaged and people discount the impact of mental trauma. I ain't talking about physical trauma. I'm talking about that mental trauma. Somebody always talking down on you to make you feel that. Hey, good looking out, boy. Y'all put that 100 likes up there quick. People are always traumatizing you mentally because for years and years, they just beating you down with negative words to make you feel like you are nothing. Even when you have seen examples of your own greatness. You got up on stage at the talent show and you sung that song and you killed it. Everybody in the place going crazy, people crying. You killed it. You turned it out. You saw what you did. And you let one person tell you, I don't know why you still trying to sing. You ain't gonna go nowhere. And you let that break you. Instead of saying, I don't know what you talking about. I'm going by what I saw based on what I just did. You have to be able to recognize the dream assassins and why they are trying to assassinate your dream. What's the word I'm looking for, man? I hate when I can't think of the word I'm looking for. The self-hatred that people have within themselves is so extreme that they have to try to impose it on other people. And they're like a bee. They'll bounce from flower to flower trying to see who it'll work on. But our goal is to make sure it don't work on us. I'm going to go by what I saw myself do. I know I'm good. Don't tell me I ain't good. I know I'm great. What have you done? I ain't never seen you do nothing. You telling me what I'm not. You couldn't have did what I just got up there and did. I ain't falling for that. I'm not falling for that. So that's the problem I have with a person who quits all the time. because it's a disappointment that comes up in me if I know that person and I know that person's potential. And then they'll tell you, well, nah, man, you know, my mama said that hey, man, I'm not being disrespectful, but mom ain't always right. Daddy ain't always right. Husband ain't always right. Wife ain't always right. Cousin, uncle, next door neighbor, preacher, politician, counselor, people not always right. Sometimes, now you got to listen to everybody, but sometimes you got to go with your gut, what you know in your heart is pushing you to do. Sometimes we all had that strong, sometimes you have a strong feeling like, man, it's just something in me so powerful. I can't deny it. I got to go for this. People say, no, man, no. Don't let other people impose their fear on you, because it is a such thing as people being scared for other people. We've all done it. I'd have been scared for somebody else before, because you care about the person and they are going into a realm that you don't have no control over. You're like, man, it's like your little brother. You done did all kind of things. Then he's coming up in your footstep and he's doing it. You wasn't scared when you was doing it, but now that he's doing it, you're like, man, this boy here don't know what he's getting himself into. So you can be scared for other people, but people got to walk in they got to walk their own path. But don't try to don't let people impose their fear on you. If you scared, you scared. I'm not scared. Shout out to Tina P, the OG. Much love, Tina, as usual. Have no words for you, because at this point, you are a consistent spiritual contributor, a consistent contributor of wisdom. Forget just any financial aspect. You are a consistent contributor of spirituality and wisdom at all times. And everybody who comes on here consistently, they know that. So shout out to you as usual. Quitting weakens you. I'm going to stay on it. You are shortchanging the greatness of God himself when you shortchanging God. You shortchanging yourself. You like, man, you don't believe. I can disbelieve in the tooth fairy. I can disbelieve in Santa Claus. I can't disbelieve in a creator, in God himself, who has already shown me multiple times who I am supposed to be a reflection of. And I don't believe in myself. You are not factoring in the power, the infinite power of your own mind. When you really think about it, I'm going to tell y'all something. When you really think about it, man, the goals that we set for ourselves, it really ain't nothing. And when I say that they really ain't nothing, I don't mean like they are insignificant. I mean, it's small compared to the power that the mind has to manifest greater things. See? People create nuclear bombs. People create crafts that fly out into space. These satanic devils, they can put microchips into your body that read information and that affect your genetics. They can tamper with science on high levels. And all you wanted to do was open up a donut shop. And you crying and whining if you having obstacles to do that. Our dreams and goals are not even hard in the grand scheme. It might be things that are tough to do. You're gonna hit bumps. But embrace the infinite power of your mind. You can pull anything out. Look, bro, I say this all the time. Everything that you see around you is a product of something that originated in somebody's head. Had to see it in their mind first, then bring it to life. Come on, man. Stop quitting. Lavish Logos is up in this thing. Chris Barrow, Bright Ruler, Perpetual Ascension, no question. Scotty Farrell. Use your head. That's right. Tina P says rearrange the molecule. Rewire your thoughts. See, you have to recognize that you are in a negative thought pattern when you got that quitting mentality. You have to think about it. Man, how much do I whine and complain about this? How much do I quit? How much do I not finish what I start? Okay, I do that a lot. Be honest with yourself and then say, you know what? I have locked myself into a negative thought pattern. It don't matter if how much of it you contributed to it, how much somebody else contributed to it, you in it. So what you have to do now is realize that you are in this negative thought pattern and start to rewire your mind and your thinking to reverse that line of thinking and come up out of it. And approach every situation that you are trying to establish, approach it with confidence. Prepare yourself. Figure out what you have to do. You can't just be blindly swinging. Tell you we don't believe in a spook God. You have to create a formula of a mathematical formula and have a plan on how to make it happen. But approach it with confidence. Once you establish that plan, what they say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Once you establish that plan, then you go for it. And guess what? You might strike out again. But every time you don't hit it should bring you closer to hitting it. It shouldn't take you further away. It should make you say, oh, okay, I know what I did that time. Oh, snap, I know what I did that time. Okay, won't make that mistake again. And you should be getting closer and closer to the goal. Not falling away from it. Can't do that. And if you're able-bodied in your right mind, why would you quit? Who's more intelligent, the human being or the insect? Would you say that ants are more intelligent than people? But if you saw the activities of the people and you saw the activities of the ant and you didn't know any better, you would think that the ant is more intelligent than the human. Because ants, spiders, bees, flies, mosquitoes, lions, crocodiles, You know the one thing that humans do that animals never do, to my knowledge. I want to see if somebody can answer that question real quick. I want to see who can answer that question. What is the one thing? What is one of the things? I ain't talking about talking or nothing like that. I'm talking about from just another aspect. What is one thing that humans do all the time that animals never do in their actions? I'm reading some of y'all's answers, and I'm gonna give y'all my some of y'all are real close. Oh, some of y'all look, some of y'all are giving answers that are absolutely true that I didn't think about because I have one specific answer in my mind. But everything that y'all are saying is the truth. Man, this is going deeper than I thought it was gonna go. Somebody said animals don't prejudge. Some do. If an animal look at you and they don't trust you, they're looking at you like, oh, what is he doing here? Somebody said, JB said, destroy the environment. Animals don't give up. Animals don't commit the same mistake. Animals don't overthink. All of those are great answers. Terry Lucas said, imagine. Heavenly Psychotic Music said, complain. That's the closest to the answer that I'm going to give. Animals don't, in their actions, because they can't talk, animals don't make excuses. They don't make excuses. And again, somebody might say, well, an animal can't talk to make an excuse. You don't have to speak to make an excuse. You can make an excuse through your actions. You ever seen a basketball player go to the hole and he thinks he got fouled, but the referee didn't call it? Now, he may not say nothing to the ref, but he may just kind of flop over and then look at the ref, and then he don't get back on defense. You're making an excuse through your mannerisms, your physical mannerism. Animals don't do that. How can you prove that, Kay? How can you prove? How you know an animals and insects don't make excuse? You ever stepped on an ant bed before? Everybody in this chat, whoever seen like an ant pile, just an ant bed, and you stepped in it, whether you stepped on it on purpose or whether you accidentally stepped on it. When you step on that ant bed, what do the ants do? What do the ants do when you step on that ant bed? You know what they do? It looks to us like they scrambling around going, ah. They are immediately starting the process of what Andre just said. They rebuild. They instantly start rebuilding. They don't even worry about what happened. Man, some dude just stepped on the ant bed, man, and man, that's crazy, man. We just got through building. And if you leave after stepping in that ant bed and you come back a couple of hours later, that thing is right back rebuilt. Ants don't make excuses. I saw a lion. We got the lyrical lion up in here. Wait a minute. Hold up, man. Hold on, time out. I'm going to hold my thought. It's OG salute time, man. Klondike Cat is in the building. Y'all know what it is, man. OG salute. I need your peace signs, man. Where my peace signs, where my fists, where my salutes, where my emojis, where my 100s, where my whatever you got, man. My strong arms, where they at, man? Show love to one of the greatest rappers of all time, man. Klondike Cat. He's in here, man. Klondike Cat is in the building, man. One of the greatest to ever do it. Stop what you're doing and show love right now. It's OG salute time. How great is this, man? Look, I'm gonna tell y'all my last 3 or 4 chats. We got Klondike Cat in here tonight. Keep it coming. Gangsta Nip was in the chat Thursday. The time before that, Cat was in the chat. The time before that, Willie D came in the chat. Come on, man. Murder One was in the chat. Come on, man. Show some love. I'm gonna say this about Cat. This is me. Most rappers, I've said this before. Most rappers kind of go through when they first starting out. Most of us we go through a wax stage where we just starting out. Our rhymes is like just basic and corny and cat in the hat raps type. I never seen Cat go through a wax stage. I've been knowing him a long time. I knew him when we was all young. He was always hard. How do you be hard when you first start out? How do you not have to go through a learning curve to get better? You just automatically be good. That's funny, man. Yeah, man. Look at all the love. Y'all show love to my brother Klondike Cat, man. Cat, when is the album coming out? Because I heard the majority of the album. We was at a video shoot and Cat was playing some tracks from his album a few months back. The album got to be finished by now. I know it's finished, Cat. When is the album dropping? Let us know real quick, and we'll get to the end and wrap it up. When is the album dropping, man? We'll announce it. But these ants, like I was saying, I saw a lion get kicked in the mouth by a zebra, and his jaw was hanging down. But in the lion's nature, he's like, I'm still trying. He couldn't, he was out of there, but he was still trying. Yeah, no question. Hit me up. Let's get it on. Whenever you say I'm coming. Whatever day you say I'm coming. Send me the beat. Email me the track. Let's get it on. But my point to saying all this, y'all, is that if the lesser beings in nature don't complain and make excuses, how is it that us being the glory of God in God's creation, the greatest creation that God ever made is the human being, is you and me, the most intelligent creature that God ever created is the human being. How is it that we are the ones making excuses? We are the ones complaining. We are the ones giving up. We are the ones taking a defeated attitude at any time things don't go right for us, or if we hit a bad stretch where things ain't going right, we just give up. But we are the ones who's supposed to have the wisdom. We are the ones who were given power and dominion over the beast of the land and the birds in the air. We were given dominion over them. But they exhibit more wisdom than us. How did that happen? It happened through a process. It happened through a process that, whether self-imposed or whether imposed from the outside, made us fall into a pattern of failure after failure, which ruined our confidence. Made us doubt. See, we got to be like the old dude in the club. Who was the old dude in the club? The old dude in the club, that's that dude who he tries to holler at every woman in the club, and they reject him. He gets shot down every time, but he go right to the next one with the same confidence. He like, I'm gonna get one of them. Cat said, my dad used to say, R.I.P. shout out to Lou. My dad used to say, never dwell on the problem, instantly dwell on the answer. Practice this and giving up will be far removed. See, that's the thing. If you pull up, you riding down the street and you see one of your homeboys or your homegirls, if you're female, getting jumped on by 4 people and they by themselves, are you gonna jump out the car going, hey guys, what happened? How to get to this point? How the argument start? And they already in full-fledged fighting, or are you gonna jump out and start fighting with your homeboy, and then later on you can ask those questions? See, that's what Cat is talking about. You don't have time to dwell on the problem. Fix the problem. If it's a hole in your roof and water is coming down, you don't have time to go up on the roof and try to find, well, let me see. Let me call these people who did this. Get a bucket. Stop the drip from flooding your house out. Then try to get to the source. If we get rid of that quitting mentality, man, our success rate as a collective will increase overnight. In other words, I don't care how bad it gets. Keep pushing. I don't care how bad it gets. You might have times when in your mind you might be kind of like, man, I don't know. Everybody had that moment, like, whew, I don't know. Knoxville, Tennessee in the building. Yeah, let's do that, man. Good looking out, DJ Chico Sway. Drop y'all locations, man. I almost went this whole chat without getting my bing bings in real quick. Drop y'all locations. What's up, Angie Wise? Angie Wise. Drop your locations, man. Let me know where y'all at. See how we bing binging tonight. For those that don't know what bing binging means, that means when I ask the chat to drop their locations, you got to picture the whole planet and all these different locations. They just bing binging all over the planet. We all over the place. We're not in one spot. We're not heavily loaded on this side, in the middle, or this side, or the top, or the bottom, or the top, or the bottom. See what I'm saying? All you got to do is read where everybody from. One of these days, I want to do a chat one day where I got all 50 states in the chat at the same time. We got Wisconsin, New York, Texas, Pensacola, Florida. Oregon, Kentucky, Florida. You know what I'm saying? Ohio. I want to do a chat one time. That's one of my goals, to where we got every state in at the same time. We got Germany up in this thing, Valleyville, Mississippi, Fort Worth. I was just in Fort Worth this weekend. Use your head. I was in Dallas and in Fort Worth. Shout out to my brothers out there in Dallas, my sisters out there. Had a great time. Showed your big brother a lot of love. I was in and out. The Bronx up in this thing, man. Tina P, the P stands for Philly, and it stands for Pennsylvania. And right when I say Pennsylvania, I see Monstar, Virginia, the UK, I see you, Brandon. And there's my brother, Derek Mallory, St. Paul, Minneapolis, Twin Cities, Waco, Texas, up in this thing, Hooligan Nation TV, Joseph Milak, Australia. Look at that, bing binging all over the world, man. Well, y'all do it, man. Take this attitude with y'all. I see your RGV. Take this attitude with y'all moving forward. We don't do New Year's resolutions and all that, man, because we know that once 2 or 3 weeks of the new year play out, y'all forgot all about that. What you do is take it with you on a day-to-day basis and anticipate what your response is going to be when you run into the obstacle, because you're going to run into it. Don't let obstacles blindside you. We know how crazy the world is that we live in. So when something happens, we shocked. Man, I can't. They say stay ready to keep from having to get ready. That's the mentality. When you step out, I told y'all the last time, when you step out of your door, you are instantly in the war zone. But the wars are more spiritual. It's more spiritual warfare than anything. It's more mental warfare than anything. You only gonna have a few physical confrontations in your life. So we be so focused on the physical conflict. Man, nobody better not even do, fix your mind, but I do nothing to me. You're so focused on a physical confrontation. That's rare. That's rare. But that spiritual war, that's every day. That emotional war, every day. That psychological war, that's every day. Master that. Got a shout out again to Tina P. Appreciate the love. Appreciate you blessing my game as usual. Got a shout out to Mike Cherry. Appreciate you, Mike, as always, too. See? Focus on the spiritual side. The scriptures say we war not with flesh and blood, but with principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. High places could be interpreted as those who sit in the high seats, those elitist powers who sit in the high seats, but it also represents the high places in your mind, the high regions of the mind, spiritual wickedness in high places. I think my boy, is JD up in here? See, Cat, I know the Cat. I know your lyrics. I battle principalities of unearthly figures. See, I know your lyrics, see, Cat. I know where that came from. See? Oh, okay. It's JD Homie. You represent for JD standing in his steed. When you quit, and I'm going to end on this note. When you quit, you are saying that you don't believe in your own vision, but not only saying that you don't believe in your own vision, you don't believe in the unseen. You did at one point. That's why you set out to do it in the first place, to bring it into fruition, to bring it into actuality, to make a thought, to make an abstract thought tangible. But after a few rejections and setbacks, it weakens you. You don't let it weaken you. If anything, and it ain't easy, I ain't saying it's easy to do. If anything, you should let it make it strengthen you. Let it make you tougher. Because when you get to that point, all of the setbacks that you suffered, once you succeed and get to where you was trying to get to, every setback that you suffered will serve as the very things that helped to get you to where you was trying to get. And you know what's the crazy part about it? the same way that you hate the rejections and hate the failures and the setbacks now, when you fight through them and reach your goal, you're not going to feel like that about them. You're going to actually appreciate them. How crazy is that? You're going to appreciate all of the hardships that you went through because you'll realize what their purpose was. The purpose was to strengthen you and to make you better. Because there are people who got to the top on an easy ride. And when you started having problems once you was at the top, which people don't factor in, which you were gonna have problems even when you get to the top, you're not equipped to deal with them because you ain't never been through nothing. You ain't never been through nothing before, man. When you done took some hits, you ain't never been punched in your face before. You ain't never been slammed in a wrestling match, in a fight. Now, this stuff is new to you. You don't know how to react. You don't know how to respond. You ain't never been hungry before. You ain't had to go a little while without eating and figure out how you was going. You ever not knew when your next meal was coming from? But when you get out that condition, you appreciate all of that. So learn to stop giving up, learn to stop quitting, y'all. And like Mike Cherry said, pain is gain, man. It's your big brother K-Rino, man. Got some good stuff coming for y'all real soon. I appreciate y'all time. I ain't gonna hold y'all all night. Blessings.